challenges facing the country. Also, only approximately 9% of our annual budgetary allocation is available to the armed forces for capital expenditure. A large chunk goes for recurrent expenditure. This bill is therefore very crucial for our armed forces and thus the caliber of its sponsors. The critical support given to this bill by the Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, further explains the immense significance of this bill. Currently, the Armed Forces of Nigeria receives its funding mainly through the annual appropriations made by the National Assembly. In recent times, the Armed Forces of Nigeria has continued to expand in terms of personnel and the provision of platforms, weaponry, and equipment to sustain its ever-increasing operations. Efforts in the past by the Armed Forces of Nigeria to procure the needed military hardware and provide requisite training to meet the challenges currently being faced has hit a brick wall due to limited financial resources. This also underscores the immense importance of this bill. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is pertinent to mention that globally, no country adequately finances its armed forces solely through annual budgetary allocations. Developed countries like the United Kingdom, Poland, Russia, United States of America, who are some of the biggest spenders of defense, all create additional sources of income to fund the activities of the armed forces. Nigeria ranks very low on the global defense spending and occupies the 4th position in Africa, below Algeria, Morocco, and South Africa, despite its numerous security challenges. In 2020, while Nigeria spent only $2.6 billion on its military, Algeria, Morocco, and South Africa expended $9.7 billion, $4.8 billion, and $3.1 billion respectively to fund and equip their military. Coping with the modern security challenges being faced in Nigeria today is no doubt an enormous task that requires contemporary, robust, well-trained, well-equipped, and efficient armed forces. This is what the Armed Forces Support Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2021 seeks to address by creating an all-exclusive 5-year funding plan outside the annual budgetary allocations for revamping the Nigerian Armed Forces through special training for armed forces personnel and provision of modern fit-for-purpose security and defense hardware and software equipment. As a people-oriented house, this public hearing is aimed at harvesting the wealth of ideas from various stakeholders and Nigerians in general. Fellow Nigerians, it is important to state that this bill has been designed in such a way that there will be no direct financial burden on any Nigerian or businesses. The revenue sources are mostly statutory deductions as well as voluntary donations. As your representatives, we are sensitive to the hardship in the land. We are also aware of the resultant backlash from the public on our military as a result of failure to effectively address the prevailing security challenges. No doubt, this bill will place even more burden of social accountability and trust on the Nigerian Armed Forces. While that is understandable and expected, this is the time for citizens to rally around our military. They need all the support they can garner to effectively tackle these challenges and ensure the protection of lives and property of all Nigerians. The Armed Forces of Nigeria also have a very crucial role to play in this regard. I believe that developing a reputation for honest and trustworthy information to media and all Nigerians will also help to build better public support. It is our hope that more focus will be given to the quality of information shared with the media so that the Armed Forces of Nigeria will be better represented and supported by citizens. Dear stakeholder, when this bill becomes law, the Armed Forces of Nigeria is expected to have additional resources for its use. It is therefore only appropriate for Nigerians to expect better outcomes and improved oversight by the House. It is in this view of this that composition of the Trust Fund Board was carefully selected to reflect very eminent Nigerians of integrity and reputation. I want to assure you that this ninth House of Representatives will not relent in its efforts to ensure there is value for every money allocated to the armed forces of Nigeria. We shall intensify our oversight efforts and ensure funds are appropriately utilized. This public hearing, apart from being a requirement in the legislative process of bill passage in National Assembly, provides an opportunity for contributing to this novel idea of sourcing additional funding for the armed forces. I therefore urge you all to make your contributions freely and responsibly. Your views, amendments, comments, and contributions shall surely help the committee and by extension the House of Reps to pass a robust, well-informed and acceptable act that will stand the test of time and meet all international standards. Let me seize this opportunity to sincerely thank the Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, for his immense support and encouragement to the defense sector. By this, you have proven your burning quest and relentless effort to see that Nigerians live peacefully and enjoy the security of lives and property. I equally thank all the other principal officers for their support and willingness to ensure that our military is adequately equipped to secure our people. I thank my committee members who have relentlessly exhibited the resolve to see this bill and other instruments through for the benefits of Nigerians. In line with our legislative agenda 2020 to 2023, contract with Nigerians, this House of Representatives remains pro-people and we stop at nothing to ensure that the people we represent are safe and secure. I am also grateful to the Armed Forces of Nigeria for their technical support on the bill. Your insight has been very useful in shaping the bill and making it more robust and encompassing. We look forward to your continued collaboration. My gratitude also goes to all stakeholders and the press. We are partners in building a safe, secure, and peaceful Nigeria. Let us continue to do this together. Once again, thank you all for coming, and I wish us all fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to speak at this public hearing on the Armed Forces Support Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2021. The importance of this bill is evidenced by the dwindling resources available to the Armed Forces of Nigeria to execute the various security operations it is involved in. This requires innovative ideas to raise additional funds without placing any burden on Nigerians in support of the military as an organization. That's the idea of this bill. This bill seeks to provide an injection of additional capital funding for the armed forces of Nigeria at a crucial time in our nation. I am sure many of you will wonder why the armed forces of Nigeria need an additional financial injection at this material time. The fact, based on appropriation records, is that about 91% of the current funding to the armed forces go on recurrent overhead, salaries, and welfare, leaving only 9% for capital purchases. This reality has prompted this ninth House of Representatives to seek a way of providing funds that will be focused on the capital needs and training of our armed forces. Nigeria's expenditure on military hardware and training in the last 5 years hovers between a paltry 9 to 11% of the total annual budgetary allocation to the armed forces. This is grossly incapable of empowering the military to face the security challenges in the country, especially with the insurgency in the northeast. To succeed in this fight, the armed forces of Nigeria requires our funding for modern weapons and required trainings. Spending on military hardware must definitely increase to support the zeal and commitment already being exhibited via our soldiers. The Armed Forces Support Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2021 is a time-limited endeavor to upgrade the equipment infrastructure of our armed forces in deliberate manner that will better position them to be more effective in securing the nation. The myriad of security challenges facing the country has has continued to dwarf every developmental effort put in by the government. No nation develops in a state of insecurity as currently being witnessed in Nigeria. Indeed, development is at the heart of security. As Kofi Annan put it, development and security are inextricably linked. If Nigeria must develop, therefore, we need to get our security estate right by ensuring that our military is adequately equipped and well trained. This requires funding which cannot be sought solely through the annual budgetary provisions. This bill has been crafted in ways that does not impose any direct additional burden on Nigerian citizens and businesses, but creatively make funds available through deductions from statutory receipts of the federal government as well as voluntary donations. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to support this bill because it will help reposition our military capabilities in ways that can only strengthen our national security. I agree that the solution to our insecurity as a nation will not only be by military powers alone, but also by non-military engagement and development of communities. That is why next week, the House of Representatives is hosting a 5-day special summit on security. This summit will take an all-nation and all-government approach by examining extensively non-military solutions to our insecurity problems, from challenges with food security, environmental changes, economic development, criminal justice reform, and other non-kinetic engagements will be discussed. But even with this extensive and wider examination of our security challenges, we cannot exclude the need for and benefit of a well-equipped and better trained military in the fight against all forms of insecurity. It is historic fact that countries during war times do not fund their military operations through regular appropriation alone. From the United States of America to the United Kingdom and all Western powers, their military was funded through extra budgetary means during period of war. There is no doubt we are at war against insurgency, at war against terrorism, at war against kidnapping and all manner of insecurity. Hence the need to uplift the resource available to our armed services to enable them procure the best tools to help win this war. So what we seek to do in this bill is not new or unique to us as a nation. The solution to our security challenges requires asymmetric actions across many policy areas. This is what we have tried to do as the representatives of the people. The concept of trust fund already exists for the Nigeria Police. It only makes sense, therefore, to also bolster our military capability as well through this unique vehicle. In this bill, the Board of Trust Fund is full of eminent Nigerians from all walks of life. This should give confidence to all the depth of knowledge and experience that will be available to manage this fund. The National Assembly will equally play its part in oversighting the work of this trust fund. Let me reiterate the 9th House of Representatives' commitments towards ensuring the protection of lives and property of our people. We have echoed this severally in our legislative agenda and through various legislative processes undertaken or currently going on in the House of Representatives. I want to use this opportunity to solicit your support for the House of Representatives as we embark on this very important public hearing. This House takes public hearing very seriously as it presents an opportunity for you, our people, to enrich our legislative process with your suggestions, contributions, and ideas. I therefore urge you all to fully participate in the public hearing as your contributions will be taken seriously by this important committee of the House. Today's public hearing is part of our legislative process for new bills. I would like to thank all of you for coming, and I'm sure all your views and perspectives will help enrich the production of a final bill that we can all be proud of. I thank you all for coming and wish you all a happy deliberations.